Hello there, viewers of Runner Television. We meet again on the Business Digest show. Thank you for being part of today's episode. My name is Dana Iriza. Let's have a quick look at what's coming up on today's episode. Now, on our very first story today, we're going to be visiting the expansive warehouse at the National Agriculture Export Development Board to see how horticulture is impacting the lives of women in Rwanda. It is said that 320 of the employees, that is 80% of the employees, are women. Have a look. Inside an expansive pack house at the National Agriculture Export Development Board, it is a beehive of activity. Workers carry plastic crates full of vegetables and fruits, while others are sorting them before sealing them, ready for the cold room before they can be shipped off to different markets across the world. Currently, some 11 companies are operating from this pack house, where they employ up to 320 people, 80% of which are women, in sorting and packing horticulture produce like avocados, French beans, passion fruits, snow peas, broccoli, bell pepper, chili pepper, eggplants, and banana prior to export. Such crops have traditionally been grown for subsistence use and only coffee and tea, and most recently pyrethrum, were the non-cash crops for the country for over half a century.
I think this is not a standalone initiative, because this is really in line with the women or gender mainstreaming in the whole agricultural sector. Because maybe we refer to the history of our country, or especially in agriculture, because we've had women really engaged in agriculture, mainly in production, but not in other levels of processing or marketing of agricultural produce. So in that line, the ministry has got the agricultural gender strategy that also is getting insight in other overall guiding document of the country. So in horticulture also it has been the case, because horticulture before, so recent that has been considered as a export-oriented sector, or some products are nowadays considered as cash crops export. So in horticulture, then the opportunities has raised like in 5 years ago. So it was mainly for men, and the predominance was just at the commercial part of it. So when we realized that horticulture has really potential that we need to exploit as a country, then as here in NAEBO, the Ministry of Agriculture has really encouraged women to participate massively from the production up to the marketing level.
According to information from the Ministry of Agriculture and Animal Resources, income from horticulture produce increased from $0.300 million in 1994 to $27 million per year to date.
You look at their shares in cooperatives, you can see that most of the cooperatives in horticulture, the majority of members are women. When it comes to the export, then among the companies that we have that are exporting, the majority, or almost a half of those, are owned and managed by women. So we can say that they really responded positively. The challenges are still there. They are not special for horticulture, but challenges are the overall challenges that women are still facing in terms of accessing, let's say, productive inputs. Access to land, access to credit, agricultural credit, loans. So the challenges are similar to other sectors. But when it comes to agriculture, because there are still many in production, they really make a lot of efforts. But when it comes to commercialization of their produce, they are still limited in terms of information, knowledge, capacity building. I think we still have a lot to do. We are still having a journey to go, but we are not discouraged. We still encourage them. We provide to them some support in terms of capacity building.
Ndi umukozi wa company yitwa Garden Fresh. Nkaba nkora hano akazi gasanzwe ko gutunganya imbuto n'imboga for export. Izi ni keza ku ruhande rwanjye kuko kamfasha muri byinshi bitandukanye. Urabona nk'ubu turakora twamara gukora anytime tugahembwa, ayo mafaranga rero tuba tubona atugirira akamaro. Nko ku ruhande rwanjye hanjye w'umukobwa mbasha kwiyitaho mu buzima busanzwe, nkasagura n'andi mafaranga make wenda yo gusevinga. Ikindi kano kazi rwose ni keza ku rundi ruhande kuko wigiramo byinshi, guhuriramo n'abantu benshi mukungurana ibitekerezo.
Okay. From the previous year, there was an increase of 26% of horticulture harvest, and the agriculture sector is targeting a 46,314 horticulture harvests and an export revenue of $130 million by 2024. Now, with the involvement of women, we are yet to see how these women will contribute to this target. You're still watching Business Digest. We still have more to come. Do stay with us. Several entrepreneurs and other key actors in intra-African trade have gathered in one-stop border post training here in Kigali. They discussed ways to make one-stop border posts more fruitful to ease cooperation and intra-African trade to speed up continental development. 25 personnel who are being trained will also be other agents on borders. Training is prepared by the Japan International Cooperation Agency in partnership with the African Union, among other partners. According to the Japan International Cooperation Agency, it is said that they have started to build 91 stop border posts in different African countries.
As far as we are concerned, EAC is one of the most developed regional economic communities in the continent in terms of OSBP development and operationalization of OSBPs. EAC has already developed procedure manuals and training materials and performance measurement indicators in order to measure the performance of each one-stop border post.
One of the examples of effective one-stop border posts is the border that joins 11 countries of Economic Community of Central African States. If this border post keeps on functioning properly, it will be beneficial to 170 million people who will cross it on a daily basis.
Sumo one-stop border post is one of the most advanced and efficient border posts in the continent. And EAC put a lot of efforts to make it operational with the help from Japan International Cooperation Agency and other international development partners, including non-profit organizations such as TMEA.
Are there any challenges?
This seminar, as I said, it's obviously It's obvious that EAC is one of the most advanced region in terms of OSBP development, but at the same time, ECOWAS and COMESA or other regional economic communities have its own advancement in terms of the trade facilitation laws and interconnectivity activities and anything related to trade facilitations. And this seminar serves as an exchange of knowledges and experiences in each regions in the African continent to make each region's development much more efficient and effective through this exchange of the knowledge and experience in this seminar.
So we are here as RECs from Africa, regional economic communities from Africa, and we're here to share experience on the implementation of the one-stop border posts within Africa. And as a region, as EAC, we have done quite a lot in terms of integrating the region in terms of development of legal instruments that regulate OSBPs. We have regulations and manuals that facilitate the officers to implement the regulations. So this meeting is basically to share experience, particularly learning from the EAC region, because it has moved a step ahead compared to other regs. So we anticipate that whatever comes out of here, other regs will take it as a learning experience and try to implement whatever we have learned from the workshop itself.
And on today's segment, we'll be looking at the revenue performance results for the fiscal year 2018 and 2019. The revenue collection in fiscal year 2018 and 2019 was 1,421.7 billion Rwandan francs compared to a target of 1,392.1 billion Rwandan francs, which represents an achievement of 102.1%, translating to Rwandan francs 29.6 billion, excess of the target. The tax revenue collection for fiscal year 2018 and 2019 was 1,398.8 billion Rwandan francs, while the target was 1,373.1 billion Rwandan francs, an excess of 25.7 billion Rwandan francs above the target, compared to 1,234.1 billion Rwandan francs collected in fiscal year 2016 and 2017. Additional revenue 164.7 billion Rwandan francs was collected. Non-tax revenue collected by Rwanda Revenue Authority amounted to 22.9 billion Rwandan francs compared to the target of 19 billion Rwandan francs, performing at 120.2% compared to fiscal year 2017 and 2018. It increased by 26%. That's all we had for you on today's segment. But before we sign out, I want to give a big thanks to our sponsors, Bank of Kigali. Business Weekly tips up next, and I'll see you all next week.